All right, rejoining again on another green table coffee chat. So far, the channel hasn't that many subscribers yet, but it'll get better. It's an exponential game. So, what should we talk about today, Fasha?
I was asking you a few questions before this, but
Yeah.
something that came up was, what are ZPTs?
Good question. What is ZPT? Erase, 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 erase. ZPT. ZPT is a vision. It's a philosophy. It stands for zero production time. So the dilemma that I see with the way most YouTube channels are being run is that the creators are too obsessed with creating perfect content. And so what happens eventually is that I think they get caught up actually in this really addictive dopamine cycle, which I'm feeling myself. It's a very powerful force as the content creator. But it's distracting, and I think ultimately it takes away focus from where I think the creator should be focusing on, which is not creating perfect each time. It's actually to reduce the time they need to produce each piece of content down to zero. So why do you think that might be a good idea?
Well, that way they will have a more turnover rate, a return on investment of their time.
Yeah, it's this idea of momentum, and I think this is pretty important to get down. When you're in a creation cycle, you really need to get that momentum spinning. But did you know that it's my belief most social media platforms I think what they're doing is they're creating this almost gambling-like addiction. And do you know how I know that?
Explain.
Sure.
Why would it count as gambling in this case?
It goes back to a psychologist. His name is, I think it was P.F. Skinner. Have you ever heard of Skinner?
Not the one I think you mentioned.
Okay, so knowing and examining how many social media algorithms seem to be tailored not just to guide consumption, but also creation behavior, what I've noticed is this. The Skinner box was invented by, I believe it was P.F. Skinner. He was an American psychologist. And so Skinner, he made a box. And inside the box, there was let's just pretend that I know what I'm doing here, right? That's a rat, okay? So inside the Skinner box, there was a rat. And so there was two boxes. One rat could press a pedal, and reliably what would happen was that a piece of food would come out. And the second was where the rat would get a random event. So sometimes there would be a piece of food that came out, and sometimes there would not be anything that came out. So it was completely random. Guess which rat got more addicted to dopamine over time?
The one that has less consistency.
Correct. Yes. What happened in the Skinner box experiment was that the rats got more addicted because they couldn't predict what was going to happen. And that lack of predictability, I believe, is the secret that a lot of YouTube algorithms and social media use to keep their content creators totally sort of unbalanced. And I've witnessed this myself. So you can produce a beautiful piece of content, something that is very high grade, very well manufactured, but ultimately it doesn't work. And that's why we brought Furkan in for the story first episode. Because I think the critical thing as a creator you need to really think about is a few principles and not get too seduced by the likes and the vanity metrics. And I call them vanity metrics because, let's talk about vanity metrics. What do you think are some vanity metrics, and how do they actually sabotage, let's say, the creator's purpose?
I would consider likes and dislike would be a form of vanity metric.
It can be, right. So the pursuit of likes and dislikes can be vanity metrics because essentially you are forgetting about your purpose of creating content, and you're forgetting also about your momentum. As a creator, I think one of the most important things is to keep your momentum going and enjoy the craft. If you're able to, let's say, get your momentum in a way such that you can finish a task in a short amount of time, that's very satisfying. It's like being able to, let's say, get faster and faster at doing what you do. You see these people on YouTube, and they're very skilled artisans, and they can produce, let's say, they can shave a pineapple in 2 seconds, or they can find a way to fillet a fish using the shortest number of strokes. That itself is a pretty good inherent reward for being able to do your craft. And it's a better reward because you're getting this dopamine from being better at skills, right? But if you do essentially go for the likes and the vanity metrics, you're getting seduced away. You understand now?
Right. But how much can a person, a content creator, depend on that satisfaction that you did your craft?
I think it's self-enforcing. When you know that ZPT is, you're able to produce, let's say, the same body of work or even advanced piece of work in a shorter amount of time, you clearly are getting better, right? And you don't need a algorithm to tell you that. You can just look at your own, you can feel it. So the long-term view of how to sustainably create content is, number one, you should get better at your skill. You should feel reward in your own skills enhancing. This then allows you to really enjoy the process, which ultimately the secret on success on YouTube is consistency anyways, as we've seen. The more consistent you publish, the more frequently you're updating, the more results you get. And plus, it's a long-term game anyways. Even if you blow up and you become viral, you're still gonna have to consistently actually produce content. So it's more like a marriage. So don't burn yourself out early. Find purpose and inherent meaning in the work that you do. And I would say pursue ZPT, zero production time, because ZPT is self-evident. When you're able to produce in almost no time, you cheat the algorithm. You're not sacrificing and getting yourself in a sunken cost fallacy and then trying to create another piece of content that will get the engagement back up because, look, you've spent so much time and you didn't get the engagement you were looking for. So in terms of a more long horizon view, hopefully this video will have reached a few thousand views by the time we're successful on YouTube. But I think if people look back on it, it will most likely be because we chose this as our North Star metric.
Right. So, back to the ZPT.
Yes.
So we prioritize zero production. Means it's
time, zero production time. You want to be able to create really good content and no production time at all.
Right. So what are we compromising when it comes to creating teachers?
Nothing. I don't think you need to compromise anything. I think what you need to do is you need to fully embrace the power of an AI-enabled medium. You need to understand how the AI tools can help or hurt or essentially reduce the time that you would need to normally, let's say, produce. And what that means is you need to be adaptive. And this is what we're discovering with ZPT. You have to be adaptive to the way that you create content. I'll give you an example. Like here's a ZPT that will show. What's the word? Okay. All right, the word was be creative. But the funny thing is, if you had actually watched how I did that in real life, that took what? Maybe 30 seconds or something, but it would all get compressed down into a few seconds and it would be funny once you understand how that's going to look after the editing AI process finishes with it. That's an example of ZPT thinking. You know that there are certain creative things you can do that lend to a very efficient process once you get to the post-production phase. And I think you don't need to make any compromises. You just need to be creative and know that the underlying goal is to get zero production time. So you should reuse templates. You should, I think, you should just prioritize correctly. Make sure you have a story, generate the correct concept, and learn as much as possible to not just produce higher quality, but also get your quality up while maintaining a zero production time. Yeah.
So coming back to the first video you made with what was the story first, yes? You build upon that story, create a content out of that, and you disregard what comes after, but you focus on the process of making that video instead.
You got it. So that is a very, very good thing. So my product is not the video. My product is not the video. The video will come and go. My product is the workflow process. I'm looking to get that workflow process more compact to the point where we can even automate certain stages of it, such as the transcription, such as the title, description building, such as the thumbnail generation, such as the captions. If I can, once again, use this idea that the AI can let the AI do the work, then I can essentially create a condition whereby I'm loading up as much work onto the AI truck and letting it carry over the majority of the heavy lifting for production.
I see.
Yes. So this is the philosophy, and maybe in another class we'll show you some of the tricks on how it's getting done, yeah? What do you think?
That'd be great.
All right, stay tuned for the next episode and see how ZPT can practically be used to effectively reduce and contain the amount of time needed to create banger videos. That's it from this Green Table Talk with...
See ya.
See ya.